This is the story behind the songs of Volume 5 of the 501 Sessions. I'm going to need more than just one hand for the next one. Volume 5 is all centered around ultimately kind of the entire story of my artistry as a whole, which is dreams. I think there's a dreamer in all of us, but to me, it's a badge of honor that I wear on my sleeve and just live somewhat wholeheartedly. I will say that the songs in this project, which are Born to Dream,
Never been introduced to a feeling quite like this. All it took was putting my heart on the line. Was it worth the risk?
and Peachtree.
I'll just keep on climbing, swing from branches and call it surviving, knowing full well any moment I could drop, but I've only got my asset on reaching the top.
Of course, those songs tell what dreams mean to me and my perspective on my own dreams and chasing them and all that. But they also represent an era of me sort of taking a leap towards investing in my own dreams. Depending on how you look at it, I've technically been pursuing music in some way, shape, or form for 8 years. But if you look at my discography, it really only has existed for half of that. And I think when it comes to not just having those dreams, but chasing them, a lot has happened over the course of that 8 and 4 years. For starters, I didn't have a clue as to what I was doing when I first started. So that first 4 years of attempting to record music and trying to put it out really just was a great warm-up to the real thing. And I attribute a lot of my drive and belief in my own dreams and in my own musical ability to moving to North Carolina. It opened a chapter to me that was living outside of the world that I had known for my entire life. I spent 23 years in the same town, and now I'm 12 hours away. And I think as more time goes by and I look at what those dreams have looked like to me in the past and what I've done for them, it's grown year after year. I think in 2018, when I first thought that I was really doing it, I did believe that. And while that very much was not the case in that current lens, it was. All that to say that this project, in terms of the 501 Sessions, but specifically this volume, it goes beyond just the songs for me. It kind of summarizes my entire experience, especially over the last 4 years. Moving to North Carolina and stepping out of what ultimately was my comfort zone enabled me to see more of the value of what that dream meant to me. I'm a huge advocate for, if you have a dream or a thing you want to do, you have to do it. And I think for a good period of time, I convinced myself that I was doing it, but in reality, I was doing the bare minimum. And I still have a long ways to go to ultimately match what I envisioned in my head in terms of really executing on this thing that I want. But these songs and this era of songs is ultimately what gave me that internal belief that they don't have to just be dreams, they can actually come to fruition in some way, shape, and form. So Born to Dream is really kind of taking that and being like, not only is this the thing that I want to do, but it's the thing that I feel like I'm meant to do, and I believe that I can actually do it. It almost feels to me like a case of when you know, because I think I thought that I believed in myself and what I was doing, but then once I kind of found that place moving here, I actually knew what it felt like, and I hadn't felt that way before. But until I got the chance to actually experience that, I couldn't have had a clue. And I think what adds an extra layer to how special Born to Dream is to me, it's probably going to be one of my favorites for a very long time, is I think that it also is the current stage best indication of what I want the rest of my discography to look like. It just kind of wraps exactly what I want to represent what I want to sound like, and ultimately is also just making a statement, not just for myself, but to myself as well, of that reminder that this is the thing that I feel like I'm meant to do, therefore I'm supposed to be doing it. And to go right alongside that, Peachtree tells a similar, more resilient tale. Peachtree is kind of that perspective of like almost blindly chasing the thing. I think we all have a vision for the way that different aspects of our lives are meant to be, whether that's who we end up with, what we end up doing, where we end up living. There's always some sort of vision as to what that looks like. That's how you even start heading in the right direction. But I think the way that it shakes out doesn't always align with the picture that we had in our heads. So going back to the lyric, feels like I've been aiming for something just out of reach. That's kind of how dreams feel. You're always kind of working towards something. And a big part of working towards something is also recognizing the progress that has been made. Like I said, my catalog suggests that I've only been doing this for 4 years. And while in a more legitimate capacity, that's all it's really been, I still have 4 years of history prior to that of multiple projects that I worked my way through and had to go through in order to get where I am now. As much as it is working towards a destination, it's also about finding a way to enjoy the journey. Because if you're not enjoying the process to get to where you want to be, I don't think where you want to be is going to be as sweet as you may imagine. Ultimately, the message and the impression that I want to leave when it comes to Peachtree is this idea that the chase is worth it. Pursuing the thing that you love and that you want and that your soul just craves will always be worth it. I don't know necessarily that everything will fall into place the way that we imagine, or that we will reach the destination on the timeline that we've set for ourselves. But I still think that regardless of where you land and where you end up pursuing that thing, it will always be worth pursuing. And finding a way to enjoy the turmoil, the obstacles, the ups, the downs, celebrating the wins, brushing off the losses, finding a way to enjoy that journey is just as important as working towards the dream. I think dreams are a really important part of life and a really important part of who we are, and they are the thing that I hold on the highest pedestal of all things, because I think for me, my dreams have made me who I am. So if there's anything that these songs say, it's to really chase your purpose, pursue the thing, and believe in yourself. There's a reason that that's the thing that you keep coming back to, and trust that everything happens for a reason and that the way it goes is the way it's meant to. It probably won't look like what you imagined it to, but actually living it rather than imagining a prettier picture of it will always be 10 times better. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to go check out Volume 5 of the 501 Sessions.